The power of vulnerability. How to turn it into an advantage. The myth of vulnerability as weakness. In modern society, vulnerability is often perceived as a sign of weakness. From an early age, we are taught to build walls, hide our insecurities, and project confidence, even when we don't truly feel it. Especially in professional and social settings, the prevailing belief is that showing vulnerability makes us susceptible to criticism or exploitation. However, this perspective is misguided. Research by Brené Brown, one of the leading scholars on vulnerability, shows that real strength does not come from being invulnerable, but from having the courage to express our true thoughts and emotions. Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is a prerequisite for courage and creativity. Every time someone expresses their true thoughts, every time an artist shares a deeply personal piece of work, or a leader admits to a personal struggle, it is an act of bravery. Instead of fearing vulnerability, we can begin to see it as a fundamental element of human connection and growth. The importance of vulnerability in personal growth. Embracing our vulnerability grants us access to a more authentic and meaningful life. When we are not afraid to show our true selves, we build deeper relationships with those around us. Authenticity attracts authenticity. When we are honest about our thoughts, weaknesses, and expectations, we encourage others to do the same. Moreover, accepting vulnerability is essential for personal growth. Most people fear failure or exposure. However, the truth is that without failure, there is no progress. Those who dare to acknowledge their mistakes, ask for help, and learn from their failures are the ones who grow faster and achieve success. Accepting vulnerability does not mean letting emotions overwhelm us. Rather, it means recognizing them and using them to our advantage. Examples of people who embraced vulnerability. Many of the most successful people in the world did not hesitate to show their vulnerability. Elon Musk. In interviews, he has openly discussed his insecurities and failures, particularly in the early stages of SpaceX and Tesla. Instead of hiding difficulties, he addressed them openly, demonstrating that even the most powerful leaders have doubts and fears. Oprah Winfrey. She has repeatedly spoken about the traumas and hardships of her life. Instead of hiding them, she shared them with the world, inspiring millions. Brené Brown, the researcher on vulnerability herself, admitted that when she published her research, she felt fear and exposure. However, openly discussing vulnerability led her to become one of the most respected figures in the field of self-improvement. These examples show that the power of vulnerability is real and can be the key to success, creativity, and leadership. Practical strategies to incorporate vulnerability into our lives. If we want to turn vulnerability into strength, we must embrace it consciously. Here are some practical tips. 1. Accept your weaknesses. We all have insecurities, fears, and limitations. Acknowledging them does not make us weak. On the contrary, it allows us to work on them and overcome them. 2. Speak openly about your feelings. Instead of always trying to appear strong, try sharing your thoughts with people you trust. 3. Learn to ask for help. People who are not afraid to ask for help are often the ones who progress the most. 4. Accept failure as part of the process. Every successful person has failed many times. The difference is that they were not afraid to admit it and kept going. 5. Cultivate authenticity. The more you show your true self, the freer you will feel. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is strength. When we dare to show our true selves, we create genuine connections, grow, and gain courage. Instead of hiding it, let's use it as a tool that makes us stronger, more creative, and more successful. Shame and fear. The obstacles to a courageous life. Shame. As an obstacle, shame is one of the most powerful emotions that can hold us back. While fear relates to something that might happen in the future, Shame is deeply rooted in who we believe we are. It is the feeling that we are not good enough, capable, or worthy, making us avoid situations where we might be exposed. How many times have we avoided speaking in a group, pursuing an opportunity, or expressing our feelings because we feared rejection? Shame leads us to adopt a defensive way of living, causing us to hide and limit our choices. Brené Brown, a leading researcher on shame, argues that shame thrives in silence and isolation. When we don't talk about it, it gains more power over us. Instead of protecting us, as we might think, shame traps us in a vicious cycle of fear and procrastination. The difference between shame and guilt: many people confuse shame with guilt, but there is a fundamental difference between the two. Guilt is related to our actions. When we feel guilty, it means we recognize that we did something wrong and can correct it. It is an emotion that can lead us to positive change and personal growth. Shame, on the other hand, is about our identity. It is not just the feeling that we did something wrong, but the belief that we are the mistake. Shame leads us to believe that we are unworthy of love, success, or acceptance, while guilt can help us take responsibility for our actions and improve. Shame paralyzes us. That is why it is crucial to learn how to manage it and not let it define us. Strategies to overcome shame. To overcome shame, we must first recognize it. Often, our thoughts follow negative patterns that reinforce the belief that we are not good enough. These thoughts might include phrases such as, "I am not capable enough," "If I fail, everyone will reject me," "I don't deserve to succeed." The first step is to challenge these thoughts and ask ourselves if they truly reflect reality. Often, shame is just a story we tell ourselves without any real basis. Here are some strategies to reduce the power of shame. 1. Talk about your shame. As Brené Brown emphasizes, shame loses its power when we share our feelings with someone we trust. When we express what we feel, the light of understanding dissipates it. 2. Recognize negative thoughts. Instead of letting them control you, start questioning them and replacing them with more realistic and positive statements. 3. Accept imperfection. No one is perfect. The sooner we accept our imperfect nature, the freer we will feel. 4. Do things that scare you. The more you expose yourself to situations that make you anxious, the weaker shame's grip on you becomes. Embracing fear and taking action. Despite uncertainty, fear is a natural emotion that protects humans from danger. However, in modern life, most of our fears are not about real threats, but about how others perceive us or whether we will fail. One of the biggest obstacles to a courageous life is the fear of failure. Many people stop chasing their dreams because they fear they won't succeed. However, successful people are not those who never feel fear, but those who learn to act despite fear. How can we embrace fear and keep moving forward? 1. Accept fear as part of the process. Every important decision in life involves risk. If we wait for fear to disappear before taking action, we will never do anything. 2. Analyze the worst-case scenario. Ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? Often, reality is far less terrifying than we imagine. 3. Take small steps toward your goal. Instead of seeing the final goal as an overwhelming mountain, focus on the next small step you can take. 4. Act before you feel ready. Most people wait to feel confident before they start. In reality, confidence comes after action, not before. Fear and shame are two of the biggest obstacles holding us back from a bold and meaningful life. But if we learn to recognize them, accept them, and act despite their presence, we can live a freer, more authentic, and opportunity-filled life. Shame and fear don't have to hold us back. The more we understand them, the freer we become. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment with your thoughts. It helps us keep creating quality content. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks for being here, and see you in the next one.